Most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for yet another beautiful day, Father. Thank you for the gift of life. We just ask you to be with us tonight during this meeting, that we may conduct ourselves, show love toward others, and be a reflection of you, Father. And as Father, we just pray that you would give us the wisdom to seek you in all that we do. Just ask you to continue to be with our faculty and staff, Father, as we go through the seasonal change, keep everybody healthy. Those that get sick, Father, just ask you to heal them quickly. Father, we thank you most of all for your Son, for your mercy and for your grace. Most of all, thank you for the power in his blood, Father, the saving grace that we receive from you. Pray all this in your most holy name.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time, I'm going to ask Mr. Kilzer to please call the roll.
Shane Connor.
Here.
Randy Cherry. Ben Couples.
Here.
Becky Hutcherson.
Here.
Clay Rogers.
Here.
Kim Scott.
Here.
All present.
All right, all present. There's a quorum here, so we will now proceed to call this meeting to order. And our first item tonight is a recommendation to accept the board agenda.
I'll make a motion to accept the board agenda.
Second.
All right, the motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion about the agenda tonight? If there is none, all those in favor of approving that recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so the agenda is set. Before we begin our business portion of our meeting, we do want to welcome Dr. Kim Scott to as a board member serving District 4. Of course, she is no stranger to our school system since 1992 as a teacher, and then, of course, retiring in June of last year after a long term as principal of East Chester. So welcome to the board, Dr. Scott.
Thank you.
All right. We look forward to your experience with the board. Absolutely. The next item we have tonight, I will need to turn the meeting over to our Vice Chair, Ben Couples. This is our annual election of the board chairman, vice chairman, and our legislative representative for the upcoming school year. So, Ben.
At this time, first on the docket is to elect nominations for board chairman.
I nominate Shane Connor as board chair.
Any other nominations? All those in favor of Shane being board chairman? Any opposed? Shane, looks like you're board chair, so I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Ben. All right, appreciate both the compliments there. The next item, we have two other positions we do have to fill, and the second being the position of vice chairman. I will now open the floor for nominations for vice chairman.
I'll make Ben Couples vice chairman.
Any other nominations for vice chairman? All right, if not, all those in favor of Ben Couples being named by acclamation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Congratulations, Mr. Couples, returning as vice chair. And then the other position, we do have the third position is a legislative representative. They kind of keep us in touch with our representatives in Nashville on legal issues and things of that nature affecting education. So I'll open the floor for nominations for the Chester County Board Legislative Representative. Any other nominations? All right, if there are no other nominations, they are closed. Those in favor of selecting Becky, acclamation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, congratulations to Becky as our legislative representative for the upcoming school year. Our next item that we have tonight is our consent agenda. You've had the chance to review that in your packet. Do you have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. There is no discussion on the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed. It is approved. Delegations, we have no delegations that have been scheduled to appear, or is there anyone that has signed? Becky, if you'll be able to check before.
We do have two signatures.
Okay, two, okay. You'll grab those, Ben. Okay, now this portion for the delegations to appear before the board is for fundraiser, which is a agenda item. Another is for the tattoo policy, which is not an agenda item.
Correct.
But we can allow 3 minutes to speak to that. No action can be taken since it's not on the agenda, but it can be in a future meeting. So, but the fundraiser policy is on the agenda tonight, or the approval of the upcoming fundraisers. And Mr. Finch, if you want to address the board, you have 3 minutes to do so.
Hello, I'm James Finch. I have 2 kids in elementary school and East West School, and one that just graduated from high school last year. Fundraisers, it didn't take long. I just don't understand why some of them, it seems like it puts a lot of pressure on some of the kids. And I know that one of the reasons for school uniforms is so that children aren't singled out for different, socioeconomic status. But when I have a fundraiser flyer my kid got, and it doesn't even say what it's for, but it does say if I authorize her to participate in it, there's a $50 minimum. And I just don't see like the pressure that it puts on a kid to send home so many fundraisers throughout the year. I don't understand why there's so many. And then I brought this up last year too, that it's only one time for the whole school year that the percentages of what the fundraiser, how the funds are being managed, are being allocated. What's going to the purpose of the fundraiser versus what's paying for the strawberries, whatever it is. And I would like to, and I coach 3 teams for the youth, sports teams in the county. And I get this sentiment from almost every single parent that they think that there's way too many fundraisers throughout the year and that they don't know what it's for. Like they don't know what's the point of it, or what's the end result, or what they're getting out of it. And I just think that there should be some sort of policy change on providing the information with the fundraiser versus publishing it one time in the newspaper and having that be the answer for the entire school year. So if I get a flyer that says my daughter needs to raise at least $50 if I want to participate, what is it even going to? And then how much of it is going to that? I'd rather opt out. If they just sent home a flyer and say, hey, we need extra books, we're trying to raise X number of dollars, cool, here's a check for $200 for the school. But instead I'm buying $85 worth of strawberries, of which at least 30% has to go to the fund. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? Like, I just think some of it, that there's not a good enough breakdown. There's a big miscommunication, and it's caused, at least in my household, and the sentiment that I get from the parents for the kids that I coach, a distrust almost, or not necessarily distrust, not the right word, but a speculation. There's there leaves too much to be, there's too much for speculation, like on what is this actually for? What are we doing with it? Why does there need to be so many fundraisers throughout the school year? And the amount of pressure that it puts on a kid. They just come home and like, well, if I raise the most money in my class, I get a prize. Well, if I don't, then they feel bad. I don't know, do a lot of things to try to even the playing field for everybody. And then if a kid comes from an affluent family, they're gonna raise $1,000 in candle sales or whatever, because the grandma will buy, $500 worth, just so that their kid does well. It seems counterintuitive to me.
Thank you for sharing. And Mr. Kilzer deals directly with the club sponsors and educators. I'll allow him to respond to that.
And again, I was just trying to look at the spreadsheet real quick. The spreadsheet, not only, I remember, Mr. Finch, you've been here last year, and I want to say that since that time, we are publishing this on our website too.
Okay.
So it's a place you can go back to from your conversation with us last year.
Awesome.
There has been a restriction. Again, we're talking about district-wide, not just one school or one club or organization specific.
Mm-hmm.
But district-wide, there's 75 different fundraisers, but that's over the course of every school, which is all 6 schools. And then within those 6 schools, the majority of those are high school and junior high. I'm thinking the strawberry sales were banned. Is that right? Okay. I just remember
That's just
that.
an example that I had. Though.
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to pick that one apart as far as just trying to say that, I'll say this, based on our fundraiser policy, no child will be denied any participation with their sporting team, their club organization, because of them being able to or not being able to donate or spot or work within that fundraiser. So there's not some expectation that if they don't participate, that they are denied the opportunity to be a part of that club organization. If you have something different, we'll direct it. Okay, then share that with me after. We'll correct that tonight.
So they agree, if I sign this paper saying they can participate, they agree to at least a $50 minimum. There is no maximum they have to raise.
But again, what I'm saying is, if you choose, just like you said in your opening statement,
Yeah.
if you choose not to participate,
Sure.
your child is not denied the opportunity to be a part of the band.
Other than I'm the one that bears the bad news, telling my daughter, like, no, I know you want to do this, you were nominated by your classmates, but you can't do it because this doesn't apply to my situation.
Right.
But if somebody didn't have the means to do that.
Well, I was not aware of that. Of course, I don't know about the school itself. Every fundraiser request first goes to the school principal for his approval or her approval. And then after that approval line, then I come back and approve it after.
Is there any degree of separation between the funds, like what you're purchasing and who organized the fundraiser? Because I know specifically for band again, there was fundraisers that my daughter participated in last year that were for the purchasing of these banners that the seniors get. The person that organizes that fundraiser also is the person that makes the banner.
I do not get into the weeds with that much. I will say this, that all the fundraising funds go through the bookkeeper of that school. And each year our bookkeeping is audited by the state or audited by ATA with us. So we do follow the fiscal responsibility of every school. But now as far as the beneficiary that you're describing for that specific fundraiser, I was not aware of. But if you share that information with me, we'll make sure that those matters are resolved.
All right, and
Yeah.
any other comment from anyone on that topic before we move on? Okay, we have Monique Jones. Again, no action can be taken on this because it's not on the agenda, but we will listen to 3 minutes of your comment on the tattoo policy. So the floor is yours.
My name is Monique, and I work at East Chester Elementary, and as you can see, I have a full sleeve tattoo. I am not the only employee there that has tattoos, and unfortunately, the policy is to keep them covered. I'm well aware of it. I am not against it in a small way. The problem with it is that we get asked more times, what is this on your arm that is covering it, than we do about what is your tattoo. I could understand having the policy if it was a derogatory tattoo or there was some kind of profanity or whatever on it. What I understand that this was not on the agenda, but if it's never brought up, it's never going to be taken into consideration. So my question is, please, if you would take that into consideration, that I'm not the only employee that has tattoos. And I know that I can speak for all of them, that if I walk into church, I'm not going to be turned away. I'm not going to be fired from walking into church, that they accept me for who I am. A lot of parents now have tattoos. The children grow up seeing them, and I would just like to have that policy considered, being reversed, so that we do not have to cover them up, or I don't have to wear long sleeves in 95-degree weather with a heat index of whatever, just to cover them up, because the sleeves are uncomfortable, they're tight, and we just get asked more times, hey, Miss Monique, what is that on your arm? Why do you have to cover that? So I just thank you for your time. Maybe it's an old policy that maybe we don't remember anymore, but I would like to not wear my sleeve anymore. So I appreciate your time and consideration in the policy, and I understand whatever way you consider it, but just know that my voice is being.
Absolutely. And what I mean by not being considered, that's just not how it's
Sure,
publicized,
sure.
and it can be placed for review upon the
Yes,
next
sir.
meeting.
Yes.
So appreciate you coming to share.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm good to go, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna stay at home, I mean, I don't mind, keeps me away from my kids a little bit longer. Thank you all, have a good night.
Thank you. All right. That's the only other delegations. I didn't miss anyone. Anybody able to sign the sheet? Okay. All right, next on the agenda tonight, following delegations, will be our monthly spotlight and celebration. Of course, we are here at Westchester Elementary, and I want to turn it over to Miss Amy Wood to spotlight this wonderful school.
Yes. I'll be very brief. I do want to say that I'm very proud of our educators at Westchester. We are working hard. Our scores are growing every year. We're doing great work, and I want to let the kids kind of show you some of the things that we've done lately. Our board members have already enjoyed our new library, but we're going to share a little bit about it.
So is our new school-wide behavioral system. S stands for show self-control. O stands for own a positive attitude. A stands for act responsibly. R stands for respect others. Some examples include using correct voice levels, having a can-do attitude, being a problem solver, and using your manners. Students can earn Eagle Bucks for their positive behaviors. And the class with the most Eagle Bucks at the end of the month is rewarded. The library recently received a makeover, including the new librarian is Miss Teresa. The walls were painted, new furniture was added, and new artwork has been displayed. The students are enjoying the fun seatings and photos. There are proof they really are wild about books. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Miss Crystal Rousey returned to West as our new STEM teacher this year. She aligns STEM standards with academic standards to provide students with opportunities to deepen their understanding of the content connections and prepare them for a future in STEM.
Any questions about anything you saw? We started our STEM class last year, and we use an assistant for that. If I title funds, I rearranged some things, and so we use an assistant for that. Had a different gentleman last year that did it. Then Crystal Rousey has a child that goes to daycare 2 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so she was free on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So guess what day we have STEM class? Tuesdays and Thursdays. So she comes and spends a couple days with us. She's doing a fantastic job. She was a teacher here before she had her children. So we brought her back to do that. And then Miss Teresa Walker is also an assistant. And so she's a full-time assistant, general fund assistant. So we roped her into doing the library classes and our computer classes. So she stays very busy too. So just trying to use my resources wisely and use the people that we have to do the things that we're doing. Any questions, buddy? Are they cute? Didn't Callan McCorkle will do a good job? Yes, she was the person for that job. So thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have a couple of board policies from the TSBA that they have revised that we need to look at implementing in our local board policy. Now, Mr. Kilser kind of draw attention to those.
The policies referred to is policy 4.600 for grading system. what you have embedded in that agenda is the first policy is what is currently, the first policy is the draft. The only inclusion that changed from our current policy, which is the second link document, is that state legislators decided that a grade, a failing grade a lowest failing grade of anything less or greater than 0 would be unacceptable. There were some school districts that were assigning that the lowest letter grade numeric value grade for a failing grade would be 50, which it has some merit to it because every grade, like the grade from of an A is 90 to 100, which is 10 points. The grade of a B is 80 to 89, which is 10 points. And if you look at them across the board, it's understandable where some felt like, well, we can just show then the grade failing at 50 to 59. But state law comes in and makes a change saying you cannot give the lowest failing grade higher than 0. So with that being shared, it set the bottom mark back to 0, and that's what's included in the board policy based on the public chapter 1005. So it's a recommendation that I have to accept what the TSBA has recommended for the adjustment to that policy 4.600.
Any discussion or a motion to approve that policy?
Make a motion to approve it. Second.
All right, Megan, second. Is there any discussion or any additional questions about that? All right, if there is none, all those in favor of approving that from the TSBA say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will add that policy. Then there is a new policy to consider, a recommendation to approve the addition of a new policy due to some upcoming travel situations. Mr. Kilser can shed some light on that.
Again, as what was later in your agenda of professional development updates, we are investing in work to become a PLC culture district, or where it's a district-wide approach to the professional learning community. And some of the commitments that we're making now is for our school leaders now, leading to teacher leaders in the future, being able to travel to these sites, to visit, to be a part of these conferences that are held by these nationally renowned leaders of the PLC culture. These are not all held within the state or within a close driving distance. So in the case of the first travel that's going to be out of state to Texas, we were just having difficulty not having a school district credit card to be able to reserve these travel plans, including airline tickets, because they expect payment on the front end. And unfortunately, our school leaders are needed to, they just could not have that hit on their credit card because it's not until November that the travel, but you need to go ahead and book your travel now, or you won't have that opportunity as you get closer to the date. So it's several other districts around us. The one that we modeled ours after for the procedural portion, that procedural document, is Decatur County. They had a robust example of their procedural document that we mimicked. And but the policy is actually TSBA draft policy. That's the 2.8051. So it's already in the books. We just never had to look at it in the past because we didn't manage one. But again, because of the issues now, and especially with some hotels, they don't even take credit or take checks anymore. So you've got to have the means of being able to accommodate our needs for professional growth if there's some event to go to that's out of state.
I think it's a good thing to offer that because we're the person that go to it.
That's right.
We should offer that expenditure on our school.
And if you pay attention to the procedural document, there's pretty strict guidance about what they can charge and the obligations they have. Still, we're going to follow the guidance that we've always followed with financial matters. We know that we're audited. We got Stacy in the back that's going to be making sure.
Ask next, going to require itemized receipts.
Yes.
Back in.
It's in the procedural document. They go into the details about that. And everybody who will be considered accessible to that credit card is going to understand the commitments on the front end.
I only wished it had happened sooner.
Understand.
Is there a motion to approve this new policy, which again, as Mr. Gilzer referred to, that is 2.8051 from the TSBA?
I'll do that.
Okay, made a motion, made there a second? Second. Okay, Ms. Kim, Dr. Kim makes a motion, then seconds. Any other discussion or questions? If there are none, all those in favor of its approval, say aye. Any opposed to that? Okay, it is approved. We also have a recommendation just for some clarification on a board, state law policy or Tennessee code about members participating virtually, so there needs to be some clarity to that in our policy, and there's a revision listed in here. And I'll have Mr. Gilzer again, he had some contact with TSBA for guidance this week.
And as Shane was the witness of that conversation, we talked to the legal guidance at the TSBA. Because of how that policy reads 1.400, it just reflects that board members can only attend virtually for 2 times per year. The question was, what constitutes the year? Is it a calendar year? Is it a school year, service year, or is it a fiscal year? Because that's, now, when we talked, or I spoke to Jennifer White, who is that legal rep from the TSBA, she says that there is no clear guidance. So I asked, can it be the service year? And she said, yes. Recommendation would be to reflect that in your board policy, which is the reason why, if you look at that board policy, the only inclusion is just one other statement that defines that year represents a service year, which starts from September through August.
And she said, as long as we were consistent, our selection would be upheld, how we define the year. So that's the recommendation, to determine it as a board member service year, which is September through August. They can attend 2 meetings virtually. Any discussion or recommendation to approve that policy?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any questions about that whatsoever? All right, if there's none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, it is approved. Next, we do have the authorization of the district-wide fundraisers. You have a copy of that in your packet for the upcoming school year. The full list is there, and that's up for approval at this meeting as we do each year. You want to?
Well, as I said earlier, 75 policies, 75 fundraiser requests. With the fundraiser request, if the listing on our website will be the same as what you read in this example from your agenda. That does reflect what the purpose of the fundraisers for, the amount of profit expected from it. Again, remember that every fundraiser request includes a community service commitment that club, organization, school has to commit to. And all of those, all that information has to be included first before the building principal will first approve it at the school level. And then I follow up and approve it secondly. The reference that I made this time different than before is that for those for those fundraisers that would not adhere to the Smart Snacks guidelines, meaning that these would be anything that would be like a sugary, like I know in the past, the donut sales or some type of candy sales or something that would not be able to be served through your cafeteria, that would not qualify as a smart snack. The state guidance and our policies reflect that no more than one of those fundraisers can be considered for approval from per semester for each group. And if you notice, looking at those that are highlighted yellow, that's the ones that don't adhere to the smart snacks. Hence the reason why the color scheme is, just so I can keep track and make sure that all the ones that are submitted no more than one per semester. So both the school level building leader and myself have approved it. What I request of you is to authorize the posting of that in our paper and our website.
Got a chance to review that list that you, in your packet. Do we have a motion to approve this recommendation?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second. All right, motion's made and seconded. Any discussion on that policy or on that activity list? All right, if there's none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, it is approved. Just the next portion of the meeting is just some general updates about some projects and things going on within the school system. I'll just turn it over to Mr. Kilzer and let him elaborate on the ones that you'd like to.
Well, the first ones listed were the capital projects. And again, if you've noticed behind the Jack's Restaurant for the ag and the auto location, we've been waiting for the metal delivery. Well, the steel has been delivered, which will be the structure of it. It was delivered last week, I think last Thursday. It was supposed to start construction today. I had not seen that. I didn't notice it when I was driving in. But it's supposed to be, the structure of that's supposed to start very soon. In our meeting this past Thursday morning, they have a meeting at the construction shed that they have. And the end date tentatively is set at 1st of February for the ag and the auto to be completed. That's supposed to be the end date. Of course, all that's going to be contingent on the weather and the full metal delivery, because this is just the framing of the location. For the multi-purpose, if you've noticed, and I've included several pictures there, 2 of the pictures were representing a redirect of the sewer line that fed out of the field house. It was not following what the city was thinking where the sewer line was, but that was direct or redirected, which is a better place, so we don't have to worry in the future about wondering about any future construction interfering where that sewer line is. But also that metal delivery occurred and full metal delivery has occurred. That means everything with the structure, including the siding of the building itself, has all been delivered, and those pictures just reflect where it's stored right now. We are waiting for the foundation to be built. So for the ag and auto, we got the foundation set. We're just ready for the metal. And then on the opposite side, the metal's all there, but we don't have the foundation set yet. But that's coming very quick. That project should be completed sometime March or April. If I could talk just for a minute about the professional development update, it's a little bit lower on down the agenda. I shared last month with much of this content talking about the prerequisites for the PLC culture, which we've already discussed. But I just want to also share that this coming Friday, there is a district level guiding coalition that is our school leaders, meeting building principals, plus district leadership with our supervisors and myself, that will be meeting with the facilitator that we have partnered with our funds this year. His name is Nathaniel Provencio, and he represents, Solution Tree has recognized him as one of the leading leaders to facilitate the project that we're in. This is a multi-year project. This is a commitment that we're making that we're going to address 4 critical questions. What do we want all students to be able to learn, to be able to do? How would we be able to measure that? What's going to be the assessments that we design that will be able to measure that learning that they have? And then the third question is, what do we do? How do we react? What do we intervene with when students don't learn it? And then 4th is, how do we advance those students that already have? Now, the challenge with this is we've been doing that for years, but the challenge is to be able to get it to where it's more of a team approach, where everybody is closing in ranks and everybody has a viable voice to participate in. We've been, again, it's a work that every school district across the state and probably across the nation are really wanting to get better with, or maybe have the aspirations to be better with, about being able to ensure that all students learn at high levels. We've been saying that for years, but we want to live up to that expectation. And with our portrait of an eagle, one of those 5 attributes that you folks have approved is integrity. You know, adaptability is the first, integrity is the last, where we see where areas that we can improve on, and we have the adaptability to accept that we have to improve. We've made some tremendous gains, and just like what Amy Woolley said with Westchester, their gains have been phenomenal this year from the previous year. But we still have room for growth. Every school has made some significant improvement, but every school and every leader and teacher has room for growth. We all do. So we want to continue to stay that path of a lifelong learner. And again, we're having this event where Nathaniel Provencio is going to be with us on Friday. For those of you who are willing and able, of course, I know not everybody has the luxury of having retirement being their friend, but if you are able, I would welcome you to join us, because there is going to be a commitment in the near future for you members of the board to also be exposed to the dialogue that we have regarding this commitment. Because you've got kids in the school system also, and our aspiration is just like your aspiration. If we want to be able to provide you the rationale, the reasoning, the justification of why we do things the way we're doing it. So if you can make it, it's at 9 o'clock on Friday. We're going to be at the board office. The Guiding Coalition group is going to be meeting with Nathaniel Provencio from 9 to 11, and you are all more than welcome to be there.
Is there anything else that needs to come before the board? Anyone have any questions or updates or? All right, if not, the couple of notes, just a reminder, we are hosting the TSBA Fall Regional Meeting for the entire Southwest Tennessee School District. All those boards will be at the Chester County High School Thursday, the 19th at 4:30. And all the board members are expected to be there at that to represent Chester County. And then our next scheduled board meeting is Tuesday, October 22nd at the board conference room. And that meeting will also begin at 5 p.m. So 5 p.m. on the 22nd of October. That's the end of our agenda, so we will declare this meeting adjourned.
Excellent.